Hi everyone, I'm Colleen and I'm back for another live stream brought to you by the awesome people over at Princess Dental Staffing. So happy that everyone could be here with me today on this Wednesday. So today's topic is how to stay on time as a dental hygienist. So being a dental hygienist means that you're going to have to balance multiple priorities and sometimes multiple patients at a time. And that can mean, falling behind, right? Which really kind of inhibits, smooth workday operations, which it could just be a bummer, right? It can just really, it can really inhibit productivity to kind of, fall behind and kind of lose your way throughout the workday. So today we're going to be sharing with you some top tips to help you stay on time as a dental hygienist. But before we get into that, just want to remind everyone that each week Princess Dental Staffing is bringing you a new topic. We're discussing a new topic each week about your career in the dental industry, whether starting your career or, maintaining or enhancing your career in the dental industry. Okay. So if you don't want to miss out on future streams, be sure to like our page or subscribe to our channel. Okay. If you like the content that we're bringing you, be sure to drop us a like. If you have any thoughts or comments or insights on the content we're bringing, be sure to comment them below. And if we couldn't get to the comments when the stream was live, of course, we will get to them and respond to them as soon as possible. Okay. And while you're at it, be sure to visit princessdentalstaffing.com. There you can check out their blog, which covers a lot of the topics that we are bringing you via these live streams. Okay. Also, super easy to start searching for dental jobs in your area. So Princess Dental Staffing is an online dental job board, and they're offering full-time, part-time, temporary, and permanent positions for front office, dental assistant, dental hygienist, and dentists in a variety of different areas. So you can also jump on there and start searching for jobs in your area. You can also create a profile and get your information in front of hiring managers as well. Okay. So a lot of things to kind of take a look at on princessdentalstaffing.com. Be sure to visit today if you get a chance. Okay. All right, so let's talk about our tips for staying on time as a dental hygienist. Number one, having your tools readily available. Okay, so when the patient comes in, you should already be prepared with all the tools that you need and set up kind of to your liking, just so you know where everything is, right? Everything should have a place and everything should be in its place. That's going to make, the cleaning or the process or procedure much more streamlined and much more easier to get through. And it's going to make it a lot easier for you to stay on time. Okay. Having to leave the operatory for, to go find extra items or tools or, constantly having to, kind of turn around and shuffle through, drawers and things like that. And cabinets, it can make, it can make the entire appointment feel very disorganized to the patient. And what's worse, again, and we've talked about this multiple times, patients, can feel really, really anxious when they come to the dentist, even if it's just for your regular routine cleaning, right? There can be a lot of anxiety involved with that as the patient. And when you're kind of disorganized and, having to look for this or look for that or go and come back, it can actually heighten that patient's anxiety and make them feel like maybe something unexpected happened, or maybe they don't have your full attention, which can actually increase the anxiety. So, there are definitely a lot of advantages to having your tools readily available, set up the way that you need them to be and where you want them to be when you need them. Okay. So having all that kind of taken care of can reduce patient anxiety and can reduce your anxiety and feelings of being overwhelmed as well, because, everything has a place and everything is in its place. You know where it is. You can just reach for it when you need to, and it makes the cleaning a much smoother process. Okay. Number two, tell the dentist to come in before you have finished the patient's cleaning, okay? So you want to shoot for about 15 minutes before you're finished with the cleaning. You can ask the dentist to come in and visit the patient, because, when the patient is just kind of sitting there, you're already done with the cleaning, everything is done, and everything is completed, and then the patient has to wait and wait and wait for the dentist, it just gets a little bit awkward. It's also a waste of the patient's time, and of course a waste of your time as well, because the patient could have left earlier and you could have started prepping for the next one. Okay, so it's just kind of a waste of time. So make sure that you before you're finished the cleaning, you let the dentist know, hey, I'm going to be done in about 10 to 15 minutes with this patient. Okay. So it just kind of gives a little bit of a buffer. Okay. Now, if the dentist comes in before you're done cleaning, totally fine. Usually patients don't mind if the dentist comes in before the cleaning is completed, because it's the dentist, it's kind of part of the process, and they kind of know that. Most of them know that already. So they usually don't have a problem with it. Okay. And generally by that time, you're most of the way done with the cleaning anyway, so that the area is clear enough for inspection, and the dentist can thoroughly evaluate what needs to be evaluated. Okay. So if they come in early, totally fine. All right. So generally, like I said, you want to shoot for about 10 to 15 minutes before you're done with the cleaning, and that way it gives the dentist a little bit of buffer. Usually it doesn't take more than 10 to 15 minutes for the dentist to get over to your area. So if it takes more than that, then obviously there were extenuating circumstances. They couldn't get to you exactly when you wanted them to. And sometimes that just kind of happens, but you still have that kind of buffer time because you prepped beforehand. Okay. Alrighty. So that's number 2. Number 3, have the operatory organized to your liking. Sorry, my glasses are kind of slipping off today. I don't know why. But have the operatory organized to your liking. Okay, that means that you're going to have the fastest and easiest transition possible between patients. Okay, we recommend multiple tray setups. Okay, this is going to allow you to have all of your tools that you're going to need sterilized, and again, in your kind of organized out in your preferred organizational method, available at the beginning of the day for all of your patients. Okay, you're still probably going to have to sterilize additional equipment. Sometimes you get patients that come in with emergencies and you weren't prepared for them, and that's fine. I mean, there's always going to be best laid plans. You can't plan for every contingency, but if you take the time to organize everything in the morning and get everything ready in the morning, that's less time that you have to spend throughout the day getting organized before each and every patient, and that will give you a little bit more breathing room, which means you can take on some extra patients. You can take on extra patients that have emergencies if possible. Okay, and it won't be so it won't interrupt you so strongly, if that kind of makes sense. Okay. Okay. Couldn't agree more. No one likes having to sit there and wait. Yeah, I don't like it either. I mean, I know people are like, when I'm sitting there waiting for the dentist, I know people get busy and it's totally fine. And generally I've given myself enough time for the appointment, between work and everything like that. I've usually given myself enough time, but it does get a little bit awkward, just kind of sitting there with not a whole lot to do. So it's better for you and it's better for the patient if you just give yourself a little bit of buffer time, 10 to 15 minutes for the dentist. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Drew. Okay. Number 4, understand your limitations and patient workload. Okay. So I know dental hygienists, are really committed and dedicated, and they're trying to be the best, dental hygienists that they can and give the best patient care, supply the best patient care possible to the patient. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes there are emergencies, extra patients who didn't have an appointment who get squeezed in, and sometimes you just it just kind of throws you off. But it's really important to understand your own limitations and be able to take on patients that you can take on. If you can't provide the patient with high level patient care and with the attention that patient deserves and needs, it can suffer. Your patient care can suffer. right? And, not only that, but if you're trying to balance multiple patients at a time, or you just don't have enough time to prepare for each patient in between appointments, that means the rest of the patients in your day may also not get the greatest care that you can possibly provide, okay? And that's doing a disservice to them. That's doing a disservice to yourself as well, because then you're getting anxious and kind of, overwhelmed and those sorts of things, which takes a toll on you physically, mentally, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really important to understand your limitations when it comes to patient workload. I know this might be a little bit more difficult for like newer dental hygienists who don't, or if you're new to a practice or an office and you're not quite as familiar with kind of the flow, the daily flow. So it might be a little bit more difficult, but it's a good idea to, find what your limitations are so that you can set the boundary, and that everyone is kind of on the same page as to how the day is going to go and how all those patients are going to be seen, if that kind of makes sense. Okay. The idea here is that feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you've got too much on your plate should be the exception, not the rule. Okay. So if it is the rule for you, if you are constantly feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you may want to reassess your limitations, okay, and what your capabilities are. You may even want to talk to your leadership as well, and talk about the fact that you are feeling overwhelmed and that it's really wearing on you, and that it may be affecting your level of patient care as well. Okay. Lastly, number 5, keep an eye on the clock at all times. I know this sounds a little bit, this can be a little bit stressful in the beginning, okay? But it's a really good habit to get into because, it makes you constantly aware of the time, right? Which can give you information on exactly how much time it takes for you to prepare for patients, to see patients for cleanings or certain procedures and those sorts of things. And, how long it takes you to get from through certain stages of the patient visit as well. So once you kind of have that, once you kind of have the idea in mind of, okay, so this is going to take me these many minutes or this many hours, it gives you a better idea of what your limitations are, what your patient workload, your patient load can look like, and you can still be able to provide that high level patient care. Okay. It also helps you not accidentally fall behind because you just weren't looking at the clock. So it seems a little bit stressful at first, but it's a really great habit to get into, to kind of keep one eye on the clock, maybe wear a watch or something like that. Okay. Okay, so those are our tips for staying on time as a dental hygienist. Let's go over them one more time. Number 1, having your tools readily available, making sure they're sterilized and set up the way that you need them to, okay? It saves time in between patients when you have all that, when everything has a place and everything is in its place, okay? Number 2, tell the dentist to come in before you have completed before you have completely finished the cleaning, okay? About 10 to 15 minutes before. The dentist will appreciate the buffer time as well, okay? And so will the patient, okay? Number 3, having your operatory organized to your liking. Again, making sure everything has a place, everything's in its place, all the multiple trays are set up so that everything is within reach and that you can obtain things when you need them, okay? Number 4, understand your limitations and patient workload, okay? Really, really important to be able to know what you're capable of and where you're going to start feeling overwhelmed and feeling like you just have too much to do, and when your patient care is going to start suffering as a result, okay? So really, really important to understand that, okay? Especially important in relation to staying on time, okay? And lastly, number 5, keep an eye on the clock at all times. Again, it might seem a little bit stressful at first, but it's a really good habit to get into so that you know where you are in your workday, so that you can know your limitations, how long each action or process or cleaning or appointment is expected to take, so that you can better estimate throughout the day, how long it's going to take to do something, and also whether or not you can take on additional patients as well. Okay. So those are our tips for staying on time as a dental hygienist. Thanks everyone for spending time with me today. Thanks for the great comments and insights. We will be back next week with another topic, but in the meantime, have a great week. Have a great weekend. Continue to stay safe out there, and I will see you soon. Okay? And happy 4th of July. Okay. Talk soon, everyone. Bye-bye.